Hello and welcome to Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz. This is season 4, episode 8. Or rather, this is a preview of season 4, episode 8, because this episode is a premium episode that is exclusively available to our patron subscribers. Find out more at patreon.com/phonewalletkeys David Ortiz. There are many episodes available to our patron subscribers, as well as some other additional benefits. It's a huge support to the podcast if you become a patron. So please check that out if you can. And if you can't afford it right now, then send us an email and we can work something else out. We do trades too. So this episode is about stealing land. It is about how to do it in a way that it will become yours one day. It's called adverse possession. And it is the story of how we're trying it, but also well, I hope that our story can really give you a blueprint, no matter where you are, to figure out how to steal your own land. And you get to enjoy it while you're stealing it over many, many, many years until one day, hopefully, it becomes yours, and then you get to continue to enjoy it. Because if you stop enjoying it, then someone else might come along and enjoy it for you. So, if you want to hear this episode and some of our other really fun stuff, then check out patreon.com/phonewalletkeys David Ortiz. But here's a little taste for you.
Cross me up! Don't snap, don't breathe, just to leave me up this skin. And baby begin! Stop, don't drop.
So in Massachusetts, you need to adversely possess land for 21 years. Is that right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, and then also...
But in Maine, it's only 7 years.
Are you serious? There's so much
Yeah.
land in Maine, unused land in Maine. That's crazy. So one of the reasons that we're talking about this right now on our podcast is because in order to satisfy the terms of the adverse possession in Massachusetts, do you remember what those 4 key words are, Max?
You have to be open and notorious.
Open, notorious. Oh, actual, open, exclusive, and notorious. Those are the 4 things that you has to satisfy. It has to be actual, open, exclusive, and notorious. So what that means is actual, like, does that just mean like literally, like you have to actually do this?
I believe it's more like
Actual.
you have to be there.
Actual, exclusive, meaning like you have to use the land and only you use the land. You can't be using it with other people. Open is like you have to do it openly, and notorious means like you have to be a true gangster about it, right?
Open and notorious means like you put up your own property markers.
And like you
and
have
a
to
no
like do
trespassing
it in a
sign.
way that is like,
what
you can't hide. You can't like try and like sneakily do this. So that's why we're talking about it on the podcast right now. And in fact, I think we're 5 years into the plan, more or less, give or take. I'll find the exact number, but this podcast will be played in a court of law one day when we do sue for the land rights, and they say you have to prove that you've been open and notorious about it, and we will refer them to the Notorious podcast, Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz, season 4, episode 9, give or take, and then they'll play this. So if you're listening in court.
But first, we're going to make the judge sign up for Patreon.
Yes.
That reminds me, brother. I do think we need to think about where we should store these photographs besides Instagram, because what if Instagram isn't around?
Been, since the beginning, since we decided to really go ahead and do this, and like this is like a thing where I remember this conversation where we talked to mom and dad about it. We were like, look, we're gonna steal some land next door. How do you guys feel about that? We don't want you to we don't want you to know about it. We don't want to involve you. This is a thing that we're thinking about doing. Like, and if we do it, you're not going to know. But I just like it's going to be kind of awkward if we're doing this. So we kind of try, and like I remember my mom being like, like they're just kind of like, "Are you guys fucking crazy? Like, this will take 21 years," and we're like, "Yeah." And then my mom like looked at our dad and said, "It is crazy, and it would take 21 years, but if we had done it when we first bought the property, it would be ours now." So, and like we took that as a like, our mom's telling us to basically go forth, and so we started going into the woods. The first step was we were kind of putting up no trespassing signs, property of Sam and Max Geller, and like marked a little like crude border of our new property that we were stealing. And then since then we've been going out and building paths. So I like gone out with machetes into the woods and just hacked like these huge this path system. It's beautiful land there, our land that will be our land, and we've been like taking photos, putting them on Instagram. That's been the way that we've kind of been open and notorious about it thus far. This podcast is another step in that.
But everyone else just has to be open and notorious by using no trespassing signs or some other border demarcation.
Well, we've had like, I mean,
we like our interpretations of what notorious means.
Yes,
and
that's
that's our choice.
Well, I mean, it will ultimately be the judge's choice. So we've talked to some lawyers about this. We have because our mom had a lawyer that she knew that had dealt with some adverse possession cases in Massachusetts, and I spoke to him for about 45 minutes once a few years ago, and he was like, "Listen, I got to tell you, every adverse possession case that I've seen tried in Massachusetts successfully had to do with like a little sliver of like a driveway or something. Like someone had been like, someone's property ended at this moment, but their driveway was a little bit longer and it had been for 20 years, and so they like got to extend their driveway. I've never in my years as a lawyer seen anyone try to use adverse possession to justify the taking of 1 acre, let alone I think roughly 5 is what our property that we're stealing is." And he's like, "I just have no idea what." And then so we were like, so what would we have to do to really make sure that we have an airtight case?